I hear Sheldon. Do you hear me?
I think I do, Chevy, and we are live. We are back. Chevy, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I am so good, and I'm so excited. Yesterday was the sneak peek of the NGBN TV network, the National Grassroots Broadcast Television Network. It's the network that you find this show on. It's a network for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And yesterday was a sneak peek. We went live on Roku and Amazon connected devices for the first time. We took part in the sneak peek, and I had a blast sitting down with Ian Hill and Brian Jodis. They hosted. Jenna was producing all day. Chastity was on the socials. It was a real layman's work that they did, but we made it, Sheldon.
And it's exciting because that's what Ian's been talking about all this time, our very own TV network. And it is a TV network. Like, I wasn't sure what to expect when I first jumped on and started watching it, but I'm watching them go live, back to back, commercials, jump into different shows. Dude, I was so impressed with what I saw. I'm so excited. I'm so thankful that this is the direction we decided to go. And, it's only going to get better from here. A few glitches here and there. Crashed the app a couple times because there's so many people on. But it is time to take this to the next level, Chevy. And I think that's exactly what we're going to do today.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about the network, but we got such a great show planned for you. Obviously, we're going to talk about the NFL playoffs, the NFC and AFC championships, what great football was played on Sunday and setting up for the Super Bowl. Talk a little bit about those stories that came out of those games. And then in our second segment, we are so excited. CFL NFL Legend joining us, Jeff Garcia. He's coming on to talk about a few things. So we're going to have some fun with Jeff. And then at the end, we're going to wrap it up with some nasty thoughts, a little bit of talk, pop culture, some of the stuff we just love to kind of unwind with. I'm going to ask you one question before we go to the song, Sheldon.
What's that?
Are we going to overtime today?
No, Chev, we're not this week, buddy. I got work to do. I got work to do after the show.
Well, we'll see. Join us on the ride. All right. So back on the air every Tuesday, 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. This is The Ride. I'm Chevy. He's Nasty. You're here on the NGBN.TV network. We're sponsored by WeDrone and Dream Reach Achieve. More sponsors to come in the next couple of weeks. But guys, we are so excited to be here with you tonight. We know we're a safe place for you to unwind, have some fun, learn a few things, talk some sports, talk some scores, talk a little bit about whatever we want to talk about. Sheldon, where are we going right now?
Well, other than just being excited that to those of you that are joining us on Roku TV, guys, thanks so much for doing this. I really can't wait to hear how this experience is. I was watching it earlier today. I loved it. But, there's Chevy's an excitable guy. And it doesn't take him much to get excited, but every now and then something big happens that he absolutely can tell it's just got him. So today I'm getting all these texts and stuff. I'm finishing up a photo shoot. I'm jumping in my car. He's like, Chevy or Sheldon, did you hear? What's that, Chevy? The McRib is back at McDonald's. You got to get one. Chevy, did you go for one?
Sheldon, I absolutely crushed a McRib. I was there it is. There's my beautiful McRib sandwich on the right as I look at it. There was my order. I was driving in my car today. I heard a couple of radio announcers announcing that today is McRib Day. I've heard about the McRib before. I've heard people make a big deal about it before. I didn't know about the sandwich. I never tried the sandwich. In fact, I'm going to tell you, 2 weeks ago, I swore off McDonald's. We talked about the paper bag fiasco that I thought was unique to McDonald's. It's since evolved, and it's a news story we could talk about at another time. But I swore off McDonald's because I was having some terrible burgers, terrible service. I said, I'm never ordering a burger from there again. But today, that McRib, it was kind of like in my brain. I worked out after work, and I was hungry. I knew I had to prep for the show. I was like, I want to eat out. And man, it was stuck in my brain. So I went and ordered it. I ordered it with a second slab of ribs in there. and the sandwich did not disappoint. Like I'm telling you, I almost ordered a second one.
So
It was good.
you honestly love the McRib.
I love the McRib. Anyone out there is a big McRib fan? Because today was my first day. I popped my McRib cherry.
You never had one as a kid. They didn't have them in Quebec.
I never even, like, I heard about it only as an adult, and I was like, I don't go to McDonald's for a rib sandwich. Now I would only go to McDonald's for a rib sandwich, and maybe a poutine, like our friend Rob Evans suggested. Because you can't be. You know what? I was already in, like, fat mode. I was like, I gotta save some of the calories, so I didn't order the poutine. But man, I wanted to press that. But I went for the extra slab. I went for the extra pickles, and it was so good. It was so good. So, the chef and MD are on. They're going to talk about the McRib tomorrow.
I don't think he's going to be on your side on that one there, Chev. But
you know what, Sheldon, let's get to business.
Yeah.
What we're here to talk about this first segment before we get Jeff Garcia on. We want to talk a little bit about the NFL playoffs, starting with the biggest game of the weekend, the NFC playoff match between the Detroit Lions and the San Francisco 49ers. Sheldon, I'll let you start. What'd you think?
You know what? This is going to go right back to the days when Madden football first came out on the Sega Genesis, and you're playing there. And I used to think I was so smart. And my college roommate at Iowa State, Mike Sackless, used to always say, Sheldon, your punter is not your quarterback. Punt on 4th down. And, and it's been kind of an exciting year watching this new line of thinking, looking at the analytics of it. Yeah, well, maybe it's got a point. It really worked well for them at parts of the season. But Chev, there was twice in the second half. They were dominant. They came out with all their trick plays, their flea flickers, their reverses, dynamic offense, jumped to a big lead. But then they got cute in the second half and started going against all conventional football logic. And you know what it reminded me of? Have you ever seen Moneyball with Brad Pitt, where they said you can't reinvent baseball? Well, in that case, analytics did. But I'm not so convinced that with the championship on the line that you go and give up, not just going for it on 4th down. Early in the third quarter, they had a chance to take the lead. And later in the quarter, they had a chance to tie it up 27-27, and he elects to punt. I get it that it's worked for them throughout the season, but Chev,
you know what? The first half, Detroit Lions were that hot knife through butter that I said last week. Everything they were doing was working. Their 4th down conversions, their combination, the running backs were just carving up the 49ers. And it looked like it was going to be a blowout. But that one play where they went for the field goal, he played it safe. He kind of went against his own convention.
Yeah.
The wheels fell off, and I was surprised how it turned out. I mean, Dan Campbell, he's like that guy that you play. You mentioned John Madden football that always goes for it on 4th down, but that guy's know how to play the game. You can't just be that kid that shows up the first time and says, "Oh, I got another try." And in the second half, that's what he looked like. If we pull up that Dan Campbell graphic, he talks about it. He says, he doesn't regret his decisions. He understands the scrutiny and they just didn't work out. Yeah, it definitely didn't work out. And I admire him for his convictions. I still think he's a great coach. He brought so much life to the city of Detroit with 2 huge playoff victories, like against not Green Bay, against who did they play? The Rams, and then the Buccaneers. 2 great games. And he gifted that to Detroit, but now he's got to build on that. He's got to come back. He's got to learn, take his licks, because on the other side of the ball, Sheldon, the 49ers woke up and they came out in the second half.
They did. And it made me wonder where they were in the first half. Like the 49ers, when you watch them all year, they're so methodical. They're so efficient, but coming out of, sitting Brock Purdy in the last week of the season and the bye week, this is now 2 weeks in a row that we've seen that offense come out looking anemic. Yet now they've got all the playmakers that you need. You've got full confidence that they can come around. But this week, they didn't even really wake up until probably into the third quarter. And you know me, I'm a Brock Purdy guy. I'm an Iowa State alum. I really want to see him quiet the naysayers and take it all the way. And I know that he can. But Chev, I was already working on stories in my mind, like David Montgomery, the back for Detroit. He's also an Iowa State guy. Maybe he's my second favorite Iowa State guy in
You
the NFL
did switch your allegiance midway through the game. I remember you're like, well, it's okay. We got an Iowa State guy in Detroit, so I'm good with that. That was pretty funny. But I remember there was one play in the third quarter where Brock was scrambling, threw across his body, and his receiver made a one-hand grab, and that kind of turned the tide in the game. And after that, he just looked like, you know what? I'm going to win this game. I'm going to run. I'm going to do things that people are going to have a hard time stopping, which is make plays and scramble and keep drives alive. And that's what he did. And they were surgical. They were surgical in the second half. But you know what else they were? You know what else they were? First off, the defense started getting a little more aggressive and plugging the holes up the middle. They stopped the run and started getting more time of possession, which was huge. But that pass you're talking about, I mean, Purdy almost went down. He was tripped up. As he was coming out of his hand, I was there on my couch saying, no! And Kelsey made this real awkward attempt to turn his body and get his hands on the ball, but it worked. It was a bit of a fluke play. Like, it's not how you draw it up. Yeah.
And then, I don't know if we want to jump to it right now, but then the same thing a little later on when they were struggling.
Yeah.
When they're struggling to complete the deep ball, right? What did it take to really get that thing turned around? Because they ended up with getting a field goal early in the third, brought it within 14. But it was that overthrow that went into the grill of the cornerback that gets picked up by IU, and that was how the game changed. And right from there, that's where you could just feel the momentum swing into San Francisco's hands. It's almost like they didn't do anything different, except the football gods started smiling on them, and everybody in the stadium knew it. Everybody in the huddle knew it. And you know what? Coach Campbell also knew it. And I think that's part of why he started going out there and really pushing that going forward on fourth down. He just did not want to give San Francisco a chance to eke their way back into the game and start controlling the clock.
Yeah, and you know me, I was pulling for Detroit in this game. I thought they would take it away. But when they took such a commanding lead, then I thought about this. I thought, gosh, if they don't win this game, if San Fran doesn't win this game, Brock Purdy is going to be hearing it all off season long. And he's been hearing it all year. Mr. Irrelevant, why are you spending money on this guy? He can't get it done. And my allegiance in the game shifted, and I wanted him to rise up. And he did. Like when he was scrambling and running for yards, he was not sliding. He was going head first, which some people will say is not smart, but he was playing that tough style of football that gets your team to rally around you. And if we pull up that Brock Purdy slide again, he's been accused by football pundits as being a game manager and a clock manager, basically an insult against his talent. And I love what his teammate, 49ers linebacker Fred Warner says. He says, yeah, he's a heck of a game manager. Wow. He's like, he managed the heck out of that game. He's the reason we have a chance to win us a ring. I love him. He's got his team inspired. He's got his players around him inspired. It's not just a guy that has a collection of good players around him. He is playing well and making them play better, because in the second half, it was because of his decision-making and what he did with the ball and his feet that got his team in a position to win that game at the end, and they're going to the Super Bowl. Sheldon, we're going to move on. We got to get to our 300-pound poetry, because we're up against the clock, and I want to get out quick, because we can't get out quick, but we want to get our man Jeff Garcia on. So Jenna, cue the music, because it's 300-pound poetry time. It's Tuesday again. The ride is back. You know you want it, like crackheads love crack.
With surgical precision, the Lions made the Niners bleed, but Gambling Dan's decisions cost them the lead.
Then Purdy took over, started making plays with his feet, got the 49ers rolling, and they wouldn't be beat.
Meanwhile, in the AFC, the Ravens tried their best, but penalties and turnovers had them fail the test.
Because you got to play your best when you're playing the Chiefs and Mahomes. He's proven he can win anywhere, whether it be away or at home.
We got 2 weeks to go till kickoff in Vegas. We are the 300-pound poets, and Chevy sure loves his McRib sandwiches. The
I don't
McRib
think that
sandwich?
rhymes.
Yeah, it kind of rhymes.
No, it didn't
That's
rhyme.
I could come up with.
The actual line was supposed to be, kickoff till Vegas for 300-pound poets, and who knows where the ride will take us. But I like that you rhymed it with ribs. My new love of a sandwich. I think Rubio likes the sandwich. What was Rubio say? Rubio listening in, host of the Rubio Method on the NGBN.TV network. He says nothing wrong with being a game manager. If Lamar was more of a game manager, the Ravens would have won.
Yeah,
just play your game. Absolutely.
And I still don't think I still call him a playmaker because he can find any weapon on the field and do what it takes to get himself open to hit that. Another great comment here too was AC. I saw it a little bit earlier ago. What about that running play on when they had 3 cracks from the goal line? All you had to do was pass. It wasn't guaranteed you get it, but you would at least conserve that timeout, right?
Yeah,
You've been going for it.
Yeah, it was a gamble, but they were that was the MO of their team. Everything that he built that team on in the second half didn't work. Going for it on 4th downs, big hard-nosed runs, nothing was working. That run called in the first half went for 42 yards.
Yeah.
You don't think they could have? You don't think in his head they could have made that 1 yard? He couldn't second guess himself. He had the courage of his convictions. It's just the 49ers turned it around. They got hot and the wheels fell off. But Rubio's comment was a great segue to the AFC matchup between the Ravens and the Kansas City Chiefs. And watching that game, these teams were evenly matched. Like, I didn't pay attention too much to Baltimore this year. Obviously, Lamar Jackson, he's MVP, right? MVP. But they were so evenly matched. I mean, the Ravens defense, unbelievable. The receivers in the Ravens receiving core, just phenomenal guys. Really, those two teams were so evenly matched. All the Ravens had to do was the opposite of what they did, like eliminate the penalties and the turnovers. And it was unbelievable. They could have won that game, but their inexperience, I think, in the playoffs stood out. And that's why the Chiefs prevailed. Lamar Jackson, after the game, he says, I'm not frustrated. I'm angry, and I think we have that quote there, but he made a lot of plays. He looked fantastic at times. He even caught his own pass off a deflection.
Yeah.
And he almost sprung himself for a touchdown. Like, he was one high step away from just going free and clear. Like, he's that much of a playmaker. His players, Zay Flowers, everyone was making plays for them, but they also made blunders when you're taking unnecessary roughness penalties, when you're taking taunting calls after making a big catch. And that was a taunt. Everyone's saying, well, Kelsey was taunting guys all day long, but Kelsey wasn't pushing guys back down after laying down. And that was where.
And then dropping the ball on. Yeah. I mean, I've been in those shoes. I've been the guy when I was young and emotional that I two-handed a guy that was lipping me off because I was going to show him you can't talk to me like that, right? The stupidest thing a young player can do. And Flowers had an amazing game. He did a lot of things right. But, not only did he take that the taunting penalty that moved them back 15 yards, that changed their whole approach to approaching the red zone. He ends up getting a chance for redemption, handed the ball, and I can't remember who it was, comes in and hits him right at the 6-inch line and pops that ball out, goes into the end zone for a touchback. I mean, as a young player, that is a lot to deal with, but he's got to deal with it because it was his mistakes that led to it. Can you come back from that one, Chev?
Yeah, I think they're a well-coached team. They're a good team. I mean, like you said, the penalties and the fumbles, that was the difference. Like, they were matched evenly in, total yards, 319 for the Chiefs, 336 for the Ravens. Passing yards, 230 to 255. Rushing yards, 89, 81. Everything was so close. Average yards per play, 4 to 6. Like, everything was close except in the fumbles lost, where the Ravens lost 2 fumbles and interceptions thrown 1. And then you talk about sacks. Baltimore allowed more sacks, which you didn't think you would get more sacks on Jackson. And then you go down the line of those types of stats where the
late
Mets
hits on the quarterback, a guy
yes,
swings his club, gets Mahomes in the head.
you know,
Just
and
little things like that you can't recover from.
little things like that. The score was too tight. The Chiefs are too good. They're too well coached. They've been there before. You make mistakes like that. You cough up the ball. The Chiefs are going to make you pay because they know how to play playoff football. They're going to their 4th Super Bowl in the last 5 years. Mahomes was fantastic, 30 of 39, 241 yards. But, obviously Travis Kelce leaves the game, 11 receptions, 116 yards, a beautiful touchdown early in the game. I thought it was a great game. I thought that's how it was going to turn out. The Chiefs edged them. I didn't know how they were going to get there, and I didn't expect that from the Ravens. But the stage is set for the Super Bowl. It's going to be the Chiefs. It's going to be the Niners. It's going to take place in Las Vegas in a couple of weeks. I'm really looking forward to that match because I think those two teams are definitely evenly matched. But we'll break that down next week. Now we're going to get ready to take a break. If you're listening to us live, thank you for being here. Keep the comments rolling. We'll flash them up on the screen. Follow us on the social media channels, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter at Chevy and Nasty. You can download the NGBN TV app on your Roku and Amazon connected devices. Watch our show from your TV. We're glad to be here every Tuesday night, 11 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. When we get back, we have a very special guest, NFL CFL legend. We mentioned it before. Jeff Garcia is coming on the show right back when we show up on the ride.
You're watching the exclusive sneak peek of NGBN TV. Like never before, streaming content for men is now available, with more to come. Join us on this journey as we introduce you to content creators and shows that are here to inspire, educate, entertain, celebrate, and support men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We can't do this without you, so please enjoy this sneak peek, but also share it with your friends and family, and help us connect with companies, organizations, brands, or nonprofits who align with our mission to save men's lives. This is the NGBN TV Sneak Peek.
Are you a business owner or sales professional and want to build and maintain a peak performing premium pricing sales team? Are you and your team finding it difficult to work with clients you want to at the premium prices you deserve? The Professional Sales and Execution Certificate Program will dismiss the sales myths that have limited you and your team and stalled your complete company's growth. Learn all about our PSE secret weapons, including the 98.2 premium presentation that helps build a high-ticket repeat sales network. These absolutely dead simple secret weapons allow you and your team to be yourself and utilize extremely powerful ways to decide which clients you want to work with. If you're ready for a high energy and high power training session that will completely transform you and your team into the envy of your industry, simply click here and register and book now. Get started on your premium pricing high ticket sales execution journey now.
Sheldon, I'm just reading the comments during the commercial break, and Jenna doesn't like the McRib. She said it's gross.
My memory of the McRib was a disgustingly sweet sandwich. But I remember it being a lot redder than what you showed me the picture of. I don't know if it's just the lighting or whatever, but
it was good, and I want to thank everyone for joining us here on the NGBN.TV network. I'm Chevy. He's Nasty. This is The Ride. We got people joining us from all over. We got people from New Zealand, Michael and Isabel Husniger. They got the MD and Chef show. My son, Brett Chevrier, joining us from Hawaii. We're being connected everywhere around the world. We got people all over. Shauna Bones, she said Flowers is the scapegoat. He certainly was the scapegoat for that game. But you know what? Like Sheldon said, he's a young guy. He made a mistake. He's going to learn from it. I think that Baltimore Ravens team is going to be a force to be reckoned with. That AFC looks good. With the Bills, obviously the Chiefs is the team. For any one of those teams, Bills, Dolphins, Ravens, anyone to be the man, they got to beat the man. And right now, the Chiefs are the man, and the 49ers are going to have to beat them to cement their glory. And speaking of the 49ers, our next guest, we're so honored to have him on the show. He was a former Calgary Stampeder, so near and dear to our hearts and some of our close fans. Played for the Stamps from 1994 to 1998. Won a Grey Cup. He went on to the NFL, Pro Bowls. He's the man. So let's welcome him to the show. Without further ado, Jeff Garcia, welcome to the ride.
Hey, what's up, guys? Thanks for having me. It's past my bedtime, though, man. What's going on? Staying up late over there.
Well, we really appreciate it. That's kind of our job on this network, right? Bring everybody down at the end of a long day, watching too much news, too many opinions. We just slow things down a little bit, have a little bit of fun. So, Jeff, thanks for joining us.
You got it. Absolutely.
Now, Jeff, before we get to the fun, we're going to talk a little bit about football. We connected last week, and unfortunately, we connected because of a tragedy. You know, the Calgary Stampeders family lost 3 players in the last 3 weeks. They lost Burke Dales, a punter who Sheldon and I both played with, Kelly Malvo, who Sheldon played with, and then recently Bruce Covington, the big tuna. He was a friend of yours. I woke up in the morning, I read your Instagram account, and I was absolutely shocked. Tell us a little bit about Tuna and you know, just in your words, what kind of a guy was he? What kind of teammate was he? And you know, what we're losing.
Yeah, just a great guy, a giver, you know, one of God's soldiers, so to speak. I mean, this guy had such a big heart. He could light up a room. As you know, if you've been in a room with Tuna or where he's been emceeing a function, I mean, nobody's safe. He brings humor. He brings jokes. He was always just a classic in that sort of way. And, you know, I rented a room from Tuna one season. I lived with the guy, and deep down, the guy had just a tremendous heart. And as people that know Bruce, they saw how much he gave to the community, all the things that he was involved in and really trying to help bring awareness, spread attention to those in need. Some of his own trials and tribulations that he had gone through over the past 5-10 years with what he was dealing with mentally, he brought to light, and just the sense of dealing with certain things like abuse, addiction, depression, all those things. But what I remember about Bruce was just being tough as nails on the field, but a gentle giant off the field. And just, you know, he's going to be sadly missed. Just all the lives that he's been able to touch over the years. I mean, the guy just led with his heart. We love that guy more than anything. And I'm thankful I got to see him back a few months ago when we were in Calgary for the 25-year reunion of the 98 Grey Cup championship team, and just being around him again. But yeah, too soon for all of these guys. And you start to wonder how this happens. You know, these guys passing away in their sleep. What is contributing to this? Bruce was 57 years old. The other 2 players, much younger. 40s. And, you know, we're in those age groups brackets right now, and makes you think, gosh, that could be me. You know, that could be not waking up tomorrow morning. And you hate to think that way. And especially, hey, I have kids, you have kids. You know, you never want to leave without having a final goodbye. And unfortunately, nobody got to say goodbye to Bruce. Bruce didn't get to say goodbye to anybody. Nobody got to tell him how much we love him and care about him before that final breath. And so that's the sadness of this loss. But hopefully he's in a good place, and he'll be remembered forever for all the things that he not just did on the football field, but more so probably off the football field. He left a legacy in that way.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I remember just a Saturday before I had heard Bruce reached out to me talking about our show, and our show is on a men's network, the NGBN TV network. It's a network for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And it's exactly what you spoke about. You know, this network is a place for guys that we're going through these things, where we can be together, a community where we can collaborate and talk just like we're doing tonight. And Bruce actually reached out to me, said he wanted to come on the show because, and I didn't know this, but I guess his mom had committed suicide when he was younger. And he said he wanted to come on the show and share his testimony. So, what a nice tribute you provided for your friend, your teammate. We knew him in the community. I knew Bruce at all the functions, like you mentioned. And yeah, he was that guy that he just gave of himself to everyone, and didn't matter where he was in his battles, as you speak, whether it was mental health or addictions. He always gave to others. And I noticed that from day one. And he was active with the alumni, always helping out the guys. So Sheldon,
and he always gave his best. He couldn't walk into a room without taking over and making the guy next to him feel better, whether you're a former player or just a guy that happened to be on his golf foursome, right? He was an amazing guy. I mean, even looking at the chat line now, even we brought up Kelly Malvo, who I don't think you would have had a chance to play with, but Anthony Cobbs, again, he was a high school teammate with Kelly Malvo. And there is an absolute epidemic going on right now of men dying too young, and how tied in it is to mental health or whatever it is. I mean, I think that's where the work's got to be done. And that's where I appreciate getting together with, guys that have been there, anybody that's been in a locker room before and starts to see other guys hurting. It doesn't matter if it's 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, guys, we got to bring this out to the public. We got to figure out what's going on and at least let those guys know that there's somebody that they can call, or maybe we've got to reach out and call them. Right. But it was such a reminder of how precious life is and the connections that you have by losing 4 people in 3 weeks. I mean, I've never experienced this before in my life.
No, yeah, absolutely, Sheldon, you're right. But yeah, that's where our network is. And we have people joining us, a lot of men on our network joining in tonight. And that's where we wanted to sit, in that place where when guys have a rough day or a good day, you don't know what's going to happen, but at the end of the day, you come, you hang out with us. It's Nasty, it's Chevy, it's Jeff Garcia, chopping it up, talking about the old days in the locker room, talking about football, and just having a good time and bringing you along for the ride. Rubio, he says men need real locker room in real life, and that's what the NGBN could be. Absolutely. So let's move on. Let's talk a little bit about football. Jeff, obviously, you started your career in the CFL. You had really great success, winning Grey Cup, following, Doug Flutie, who was before you. You go to San Francisco, again, following a guy that had quite a reputation in town, and you go in and you carve your way in there. You have a highly successful career in the NFL. But a lot of your success came with the team that we were talking about in the first segment, the San Francisco 49ers, who are going to the Super Bowl. And we were talking about Brock Purdy. Sheldon is on the Brock Purdy
Iowa State guy. There's not that many of us in the NFL.
I got to stick together.
That's it.
And so when we were talking about getting you on the air, you must have a real appreciation for what he's going through. I mean, you weren't Mr. Irrelevant, but you came from the CFL, and that's almost even harder to break through in the NFL and in terms of their eyes, and then stay. Can you tell people a little bit about what maybe he's going, like, has he silenced the critics, first of all?
I think it really fuels his fire to hear people doubt him. And I think he's that guy that carries that chip on his shoulder. He doesn't need to talk about it. He doesn't need to flaunt it. His teammates believe in him, which is most important. His coaching staff, his team, the organization, they believe in Brock Purdy. He doesn't need to hear it from other people. And many of the doubters are people that have never even put on a football uniform in the first place. So what do they know about actually playing the game and playing probably one of the most difficult positions in sport, the quarterback position, from the standpoint of what you have to grasp mentally, what you have to do in limited time within 2 to 3 seconds with a rush, breathing down your neck, making a great decision, making an accurate throw. The young man continues to do it time and time again. He's proven himself by just the number of wins that he's had under his belt in these 2 short seasons that he's been with the 49ers. And yes, does he have weapons around him? Of course he does. It's the NFL. Every team has weapons. So it's not that he has greater weapons than others, but what they do from an offensive standpoint, their scheme creates a lot of opportunities for guys who are playmakers and guys who know what to do with the ball once they get the ball in their hands. Kittle, for example, Debo, CMC, Ayuk, all these guys are capable of making such big plays on the field. And really what Purdy becomes is a John Stockton of the world, a point guard, delivering that key pass. Hey, throwing guys open, understanding what he's seen defensively and making the right decision. Now, he had a rough game against Green Bay.
Yep.
He had to go through some of those growing pains, so to speak, from that first playoff game. And I think a lot of that can be attributed to rest time. And I've always talked about this with the fact that when teams clinch early, they start to rest players late in the season. Well, not only did he rest in week 17, they had a bye week as well. So now you're not playing a game for 3 weeks. We know as players, when you tell your body to shut it down for a little bit, everything starts to shut down. It's almost better to maintain that grit and that determination and battle through, hey, the soreness, the tiredness, all those things, even if it was getting a half of a game in week 17 to keep you sharp. I just think he came into that Green Bay game and he just wasn't sharp because he hadn't played in 3 weeks. And all of a sudden the speed of the game is at a different level. It picks up come playoff time. But hey, he proved himself this weekend. The third quarter was unbelievable with what the 49ers did. It was a tale of two halves. Detroit was owning them in the first half. And if San Fran doesn't fix their defense, it's not going to be any prettier against Kansas City.
Yeah.
And Kansas City's defense is legit as to what they showed on Sunday against Lamar and Baltimore. So that being said, the 49ers are up to a task right now where they need to figure out some things defensively to where they either need to get more creative, they need to fabricate pressure, they need to do some things that's going to help their offense out, because that first half showed what teams are capable of doing. And even Green Bay moved the ball at will against the 49ers, which was something that, with the way people talk around here and the way they talk about the 49ers, hey, the front four, the linebackers, all of this, yeah, there are good players on that defense, but they're not playing at the level that they played at in the past couple seasons. And so they need to get back to that. And now the most critical of times right now, Super Bowl time. But hey, we were at the game on Sunday. What a great game. What a great comeback. But it had to happen like all of the pieces fell into place with Dan, hey, going for it on fourth down a couple times, dropped passes in critical situations by Detroit. I mean, it was like the perfect storm of a meltdown that gave the Niners a chance to come back. And you know what? Dan Campbell has lost 2 big comeback games against the 49ers. One as a player when he was with the New York Giants, and I was quarterback in the team, and they were down 20. We were down 24 and came back and beat. He was on that New York Giants team, and now as the coach of the Detroit Lions, up 17 and giving that up. So, you know, it's unfortunate for him. I was really happy and excited for Detroit and their fan base because they just haven't had much to cheer about in decades. And to have this season happen like it did, they're a team on the rise. They're going to continue to be competitive year on and year out. They have a good, solid football team going on right now.
Yeah, and I think he's got the trust and the love of the locker room as well, right? But it's always tough when you have that unconventional line of thought, because that is very unconventional to go for it on fourth down. Like when you're watching that, I heard the comments after the game. He's like, I just didn't want to give San Francisco the momentum back. So I knew, even though we're ahead at one point, or we could have gone ahead, I needed to do something to change the momentum of this game. And he used the word momentum. Can you logically justify what he did, or do you think you understand what he was doing there, Jeff?
I don't really understand what he was doing because it was a close ball game. It was a 3-point game at one time. He could have tied it with the field goal. And these were not 55-plus yard field goal attempts.
Yeah,
these
45.
were legit field goal attempts that, hey, your kicker should make. That's 6 points that are left off the board. And, you know, that becomes a momentum shifter. Hey, all of a sudden you go for it on fourth down, you don't get it. Hey, that crowd got wild. They got into it. They got excited. They could see that things were starting to go their way. I mean, you get an unbelievable deflected pass off a face mask, should have been an interception, ends up being a 50-yard completion down to the 3-yard line, and now you're scoring after that one. So, like I said, the breaks just went the Niners' way in the second half. Yeah, they created some of those breaks themselves, but some of those were given to them. And I don't know how many third down drops or fourth down drops the Lions had that would have continued drives, and it just unfortunately didn't happen, which led to the opportunity for the Niners to scratch and claw their way back into it.
And they sure did. They did, and it was a great game, great finish. I'm happy to see them going on to the 49ers. I think they're well matched against the Chiefs, who beat the Ravens last weekend. But obviously, with your expertise here, you've lived in the heyday of quarterbacks. I mean, you played in the CFL. You are considered one of the greatest. If there was a Mount Rushmore of quarterbacks in the CFL, you're up there. You played in that great era of quarterbacks in the CFL. You went to the NFL. You played in that great era of quarterbacks. You've played long enough to play with some of the young quarterbacks. Is Patrick Mahomes people are talking about him like he could be one of the greatest quarterbacks? What's your evaluation of Patrick Mahomes early in his career?
I mean, he's really unbelievable. When you look at what Tom Brady did throughout his 20 plus years of playing in the National Football League and what Patrick Mahomes is doing in these first, what year is this for Patrick? 7, 8 years, maybe?
I think it's his 6th year as a starter.
Yeah.
6th year starter, 7th year in the league. And is this his 4th Super Bowl appearance?
Yeah. In 5 years.
In 5 years. I mean, first of all, it starts with Andy Reid and what a great coaching staff they have and the talent that they brought in. But Patrick, and I said this in a group chat with buddies of mine prior to the game, with Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback and the way their defense is playing in KC, which is lethal now, I felt like they were going to be tough to beat in that game on Sunday. With all the accolades that Lamar is getting, the great defense of Baltimore, Mahomes is just a winner. He finds a way to do it. He finds a way to make it happen. And now he's got a defense on his side that's going to get stops. All season long, everybody was wondering, where's the real Kansas City team? Hey, they're going through some growing pains as an offense, but their defense was keeping them in games week in and week out. And now their offense has finally started to find their rhythm at the perfect time in the season, the playoffs. And, he's just, there's something else.
Let me ask you this question, Jeff. How crucial is it to a quarterback's performance to have like a game-breaking tight end like you see with Kelsey, or like Brady had with Gronk, or like we see in Detroit, or we're seeing in San Fran with Kittle? How crucial is that to an offensive game plan? Like if you have that guy, what does it do for because a tight end on his own is just this big 6'7" guy that can maybe run short routes and block. But when you have a guy like Kelsey and all those other guys I mentioned, they sure can change a game for you, right?
Absolutely. And he and Kelsey have this connection and this understanding of playing outside of the box, so to speak. There's no true route for Kelsey in a lot of ways. I think a lot of what he does is a feel for the game. It's not to say he's just making stuff up, but he has the freedom to, hey, sit it down in a hole, or feels man-to-man, then take it on a certain route. But Mahomes is on the same page with them. We saw on Sunday 11 passes to Kelsey, 11 receptions. I mean, the guy was phenomenal. Even with an all-pro safety covering him, makes an amazing catch for a touchdown. Was just doing some remarkable things. And again, Mahomes scrambling to the right, throws back across the grain. There's Kelsey making a leaping catch. I mean, things that you normally don't want a quarterback to do. You don't want him to make those mistakes, but there's so much confidence in Mahomes and him in Kelsey that they do those things and they make positive plays out of nothing. And, that's tough to stop. It's tough to stop when you have such a great target, a big target that creates matchup opportunities on the field. If teams want to play man to man, he's going to create opportunities to win. And that's just the connection they have. And it's been a great one through these years that they've been together.
Well, I got one last question for you, because that's the thing too with Patrick Mahomes. To beat Mahomes in the playoffs, I think solidifies you as a great quarterback. And I think that's where Purdy is trending towards. If you could give him one piece of advice, because he's got a lot of things going through his head right now. He's never played a game at this scale, like most of us haven't. But his second year as a starter, what would you be telling him right now with all the hype of Patrick Mahomes, and even Taylor Swift's going to be in the stadium, all this noise he's going to be exposed to for the next 2 weeks? What's the one piece of advice you would give him?
Well, Brock knows he's not going against Patrick Mahomes. He's got to beat that Kansas City defense. That Kansas City pass rush is legit. They get after the quarterback. He's got to dissect or learn how to dissect that defense. Their D coordinator, he was with us in Philly, and he does a great job of disguising coverages, bringing pressure, zone blitzes. All of a sudden you have pressure in your face, guys dropping to zones on the other side. And Brock's got to be able to see all of that happening. He's got to really get into the details of the keys and where his opportunities are going to be presented. The other thing is being able to run the football. I mean, that's really going to be critical for the 49ers to have balance, to be able to use CMC, to be able to create play action and movement opportunities off of the run game. If they can have that balance, that's going to play in the hands of Brock and being able to have a good, solid football game. Now, if he's forced to pass and play catch up, that's falling right into the hands of KC. That's something that they want to do. They want to force you into those type of situations, second and long, third and long situations where you're having to throw the ball down the field. You're having to hold on to it a little longer. That plays into their hands as a defensive team and the type of rush that they can bring. And so, he's got to worry about what he has to do in order to beat that defense, how he gets his weapons involved, how he creates matchup opportunities coming from Coach Shanahan. He's just an extension of the coach on the field. I trust that he'll make good decisions. I trust that he'll be ready. He'll be scrappy. Hey, he'll grind through it if he needs to tuck it and run it. He did that multiple times the other night for some key runs, and he's that type of player.
Nice. Jeff, one more for me, and we're gonna switch gears. We're excited for Super Bowl. It's two weeks away, so we don't want to overkill. We don't want to be the Detroit Lions of the Super Bowl coverage and blow our load before the week before. I want to take it back north. Bo Levi Mitchell is a friend of mine, was a teammate. I believe you had a hand in some of his development in the CFL. A lot of our fans, a lot of people that listen to our show, love the Stamps, love the CFL. In recent years, he kind of, his performance went down with injuries. He went to Hamilton. He was hoping to turn a new leaf, but it kind of got derailed. What does Bo need to do to be Bo again? Because the CFL needs a healthy Bo Levi Mitchell. That Toronto-Hamilton rivalry needs a healthy Bo Levi. Like, what does he need to do at this stage of his career to get back on top?
Well, when I met Bo, he was in his first couple years up there in Calgary, and he had that hunger, that fight, that grit. He was the guy coming out of Eastern Washington, had a great collegiate career, but not highly sought after, having to prove himself still, really working hard at it in the weight room, wanting to watch film, studying film, having that grit, determination on the field, having that moxie, playing with a little bit of arrogance to him. He's got to get back to that. And I don't know what has transpired. You start making more money. Hey, you get married, you have a family, life changes. Are you not approaching the game the same way that you were when you were young and hungry? Have you gotten a little soft because of, the the riches that have come to you, the lifestyle that you're able to live, whatever the case may be, he's got to go back to finding that edge, that chip on his shoulder, that edge that differentiated him from the rest of the quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. I know he has it within him. I know he struggled through some injuries last year. It was a fresh start for him, so to speak, going to Hamilton, but then he got hit with the injuries, unfortunately. And so he's had to overcome that. But I do believe that he's got to look in the mirror and he's got to really reach deep inside as to how important is this game to him and what was the difference between his first 5-6 years in the league and where he's at now. He's still a young man. What is he, 30 years old? He's still got a football ahead of him if he wants it. And that's it. He's got to want. He's got to want it badly. He's got to want to, hey, find a way to have that motivation, that fuel your fire, become that leader again in the locker room, get those people, get those players to trust in you, that you're the guy and that you're the gunslinger. And I remember, hey, he was a gunslinger, man. He would sling it. And, hey, you go out there, you make good decisions, you lead your team with the experience that you have within yourself, the ability that you have within yourself, and get back to that grit and fire that made you work, because that, if anything, is what may be missing.
I'm hearing Rocky Balboa right here. That's how winning's done.
Yeah, I think he's got to make a call to the guy on this show tonight wearing the 49ers hat and go get the montage going. But Jeff, before we let you go, we got to get out of here pretty quick. What are we plugging tonight? I said, hey, Jeff, what do you want to talk about tonight before we let you go? Because thank you for coming on. You got this product here. It's called The Plug. So we're gonna plug
the plug, man.
So what are we plugging here?
It's really a drink for your liver. It's a rejuvenation. It's a detoxifier. It's after drinking the beverages sort of drink, but I drink it on an everyday basis just to help with flushing me out, cleansing the liver, just positive minerals and the things that we need in our system. It was developed by two brothers and they have Korean backgrounds. And in the Asian countries, they don't drink Gatorade. They don't drink Powerade. They don't drink those drinks as a post-recovery hangover sort of drink. Their drinks are more like this, the Plug. It's having these natural ingredients, these herbs, these different ingredients that help to detoxify the liver. And so, hey, I'm plugging something that I invested in, and it's a growing company, and I think they're doing a great job with it.
And you feel cleaner, like when you're drinking that, you feel yourself clean out faster and recover faster.
Yeah, absolutely. So
where can a guy find that? Because I think that's kind of the thing that I need exactly, right? Like, is it in Canada, or tell our American listeners, watchers here, where they can find it in the States?
Well, you can definitely find it online. You can sign up and start to get orders sent to you. I get a monthly supply sent to me once a month. I get, I believe, a shipment of 20 sent to me. And we go through them and I enjoy them just for general health. I think that's more than anything. I was doing a dry January. I wanted to kind of limit the alcohol intake and just kind of clean myself up. I'm going through some things where I'm going to need some surgeries here in the upcoming months. And so my body is hitting that point at 53 years old where it's starting to break down a little bit. I've gone to get blood work done again because I didn't have the energy levels that I want to have. I didn't have the motivation. I broke my finger playing old man football this weekend. Here's the story. I play in this old man football league. It's two-hand touch. 32 years of playing tackle football. I never hit my hand on a helmet, never broke my finger, nothing. Here comes the rush on Sunday. The guy's got his hands up. I throw a crossing route over the middle. My middle finger hits his palm of his hand, and it was like a car running into a wall. It looked like an accordion. I looked at it. It split the skin. I saw my knuckle sticking out. I pulled the end of the finger, straightened it out. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not throwing it 4 balls. I had to catch a flight 2 hours later up to the Bay Area to go to the game. I'm like, well, I guess the doctor's office is going to wait too. So if I went this morning, I have a fracture and I'm seeing an orthopedic tomorrow. But, that being said, I love staying competitive. I have 4 kids, 15, 14, 13, 12. They all play sports. I coach them. I love being out there, being active, but I'm finding my body now from years of wear and tear. Hey, my foot, I need to have foot surgery. My hip, I have bone on bone. So, I'm going to try some different things, stem cell injections before I go with the total hip replacement. I mean, I don't want to have my hip replaced at 53, but that's the direction that we're going, especially guys who've played this game for so long. It's just a matter of time before your body is starting. And I'm trying to defy the odds, man. I want to lift weights. I want to do all those things to stay in shape. And so, going and getting my blood work done, going and having those things done kind of told me a lot about, hey, my diet, foods that irritate me, foods that irritate my stomach. And I was surprised to see the amount of food choices that were on there. And so it's kind of made me, change my diet a little bit, see if that affects my energy, see if it helps me, be who I want to be. But, until I get some of these body parts fixed, I can't run. I can't.
You know what? It doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. It happens to us all. Father Time is still undefeated. Jeff, I just want to thank you again for coming on the show, man. I know you didn't have to do it. You graciously gave us your time. We're now on the Roku television network, so we actually have hard deadlines to get in and out. I feel bad. I'm rushing off Jeff Garcia, but folks, for those of you that stuck around to the end, thank you so much for following along. Jeff, thanks for joining us. Chevy, am I right here? We are at 58?
Well, Sheldon, we missed the 58 deadline. We're coming up on the hour. So how about we take a break? I told you at the beginning, we're going overtime. We still got a few things to cover. We'll talk a little breakdown of Jeff Garcia because that was awesome. We'll come back. We'll do a little overtime segment, and then we'll send everyone home. All right? Right here on the ride.
Up, buddy. Okay, here we go.
Welcome to Tripping Through Transformation. I'm your host, Guillaume Poirier, and I'm inviting you on a journey that will expand your outlook on life. Join me as we delve into the realms of mental health, resilience, personal growth, community, and alternative healing. Through personal narratives and expert insights, we'll explore the transformative power of shared stories. Get ready to escape from narrow perceptions and dive into a world of diverse perspectives. Tripping Through Transformation is where stories become pathways to empowerment.
You're watching the exclusive sneak peek of NGBN TV. Like never before, streaming content for men is now available, with more to come. Join us on this journey as we introduce you to content creators and shows that are here to inspire, educate, entertain, celebrate, and support men in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. We can't do this without you, so please enjoy this sneak peek, but also share it with your friends and family, and help us connect with companies, organizations, brands, or nonprofits who align with our mission to save men's lives. This is the NGBN TV Sneak Peek.
Well, you did it to me again, Chev.
Yeah, you know what?
People are going to start thinking this is a shtick. It's not. I want to go to bed now, but Chevy's always finds a way. Well, let's bring Jeff on for a double segment. Well, it's
Well,
Jeff Garcia, of course,
but
guys. You want to hear from him, not us anyway.
you knew it was going to be good, Sheldon. You knew it was going to be. He had a lot to say. I mean, I was looking at that clock, and if you could see, I was kind of jumping because this is our first night on the network. You know, we
Yeah.
launched this week the sneak peek. We're on Roku, Amazon Fire. I really wanted to hit that. We're supposed to be out at 58 minutes. I really want to hit it, but then Jeff went into the hip replacement and stuff, and that's stuff people want to hear.
That's what I want to hear. That's what this network's about, right?
Yeah.
Now, I love his takes on Brock Purdy and all that stuff, right? But I told you this before the show. I'm curious on how his transition was out of the game to where he's at now, what he's doing. And just, you heard it from him. He's a dad in his 50s, going through, just like the rest of us are, blood work and doctor's appointments. And anyway, Chev, I'm going to take a second here for a bit of a shameless plug. Last week, if you remember, somebody wrote in on the show that, hey, I want to sponsor you guys. So he reached out today, and I want to call him out. Corey Yake and Kimberly Johnson, they're fueling us, or they're fueling me today with crude energy coffee. This company's kind of
I want to be fueled.
I've got a cup for you. I've got a bag for you. Right? I told him, can you see it?
Yeah, no, I want it.
Yeah, well, you got to come by and get it. But I told him that back in the day, we used to call you Johnny Free Shit. Because Chevy loves free stuff and handouts, and we're going to talk to them some more. If we can sign them up as a full-on sponsor, we might have to start sending out our guests or our listeners with.
Everyone loves coffee. Everybody
loves free stuff, but I've never met anyone in my entire life that loved free stuff more than you. And it was kind of funny, like, you know, you're saying, well, you know where that came from. I'm like, I've just kind of always assumed you like free stuff.
Yeah,
but am I to understand it? You said to save it for the air, so I'm going to ask you, what was a story from your NFL days that got you the name Johnny Free Shit?
So before I get into the Johnny Free Shit story, the nice thing about the overtime segment, Sheldon, is that we could take care of some stuff that we might not have done before. So I'll get into the Johnny Free Shit. Okay. But before that, we are on the NGBN.TV network. We're on Android connected devices, Amazon connected devices. We're on Roku connected devices. You can find our show on YouTube, Facebook Live, all our socials at Chevy and Nasty. We're sponsored by Dream Reach Achieve. You see their logo at the bottom there, and We Drone. They started with us. Dream Reach Achieve is sales training at its best, and We Drone is real estate photography. So that's the bit of the business part of it, because we don't want people to not get, you know, what we promised them, which is, you know, the little plugs here and there. So we do the business. And now we're looking at some comments here. So first of all, that's the other thing I was going to ask. If you're still with us tonight, I want to see some comments. I want to know what you thought about Jeff Garcia, because I thought he was awesome.
Yeah.
His breakdown of the games, his breakdown of Brock Purdy and what he's going through and what he has to do to keep raising. I want to hear what you thought about his interview and even some of his health challenges. Here's a 53-year-old guy, 53-year-old guy, warrior, never had one of these hand injuries that many quarterbacks get in his entire, I think he played 17 years, if I'm not mistaken, 17-year career, CFL, NFL, and UFL with the Omaha Nighthawks. Never hurts his hand. He goes and plays old man football, and he destroys his middle finger. I thought that was hilarious. And yeah, Rob Evans says he loves the insight. AC still on. Rubio asked the questions. He said, how would we be different if we played during the time of social media? Maybe they would have kept us on the air way back when. Maybe it would have been like the Kelsey brothers, except not brothers.
You know what? But here's the truth. Here's what I remember. Kelly Kirsch with a Fan 960. Boys, we need to get you guys writing blogs, and we got to get you a little more active on Twitter. And we're like, no, we just showed up on Mondays and recorded the show. So I think at very least, had we been more involved in social media, at least our radio careers would have gone longer. I don't know. I don't think branding was as big a thing back then, but it
wasn't. It definitely was towards the end of the career. Like I played through that era where everyone had like the big, thick.
You played longer than Tom Brady, didn't you?
Well, maybe just as long as him. But you know, like the brick telephone, and then it went to the flip phone, to the smartphone, and then to the apps, and then to the social media, and it became a big deal. But way back when I started, and there's AC Cobbs, he says Jeff Garcia is a legend, and he was like people in the NFL don't understand the legendary status he has up here in the CFL. You know, they don't understand.
Like right up there with Doug Flutie.
Yeah, right up there. Doug Flutie. You talk about the best, like
Warren
you
Moon.
talk, Damon Allen, Warren Moon, Doug Flutie, Jeff Garcia, Anthony Cavillo, Ricky Ray. Like you talk about the best of the best. He is in that conversation. And then what he did that most have never done is the NFL career he built on that, because all those best CFL quarterbacks, except for Warren Moon, never did what Jeff Garcia did. You know, he's a 3-time Pro Bowler, and giving a shout out to Coach Todd McKay of the Calgary Mavericks.
Oh, is Todd joining us? Awesome.
Well,
Coach.
he's joined us. He asked me to mention that Jeff Garcia late in his career was a Pro Bowler with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which is Todd's favorite team. But Johnny Freeshit, everyone wants to know. You want to know what Johnny Freeshit. So here I am. I played at McGill University. We never even got like a free t-shirt, right? And I go to Jacksonville, and it was 2001. The NFL was moving from all other branded stuff. So from Nike, Adidas, they signed an exclusivity deal with Reebok. So their pro shops had to clear everything out. So it was 110-degree Fahrenheit day during, I believe it was mini camp. Or spring camp in Jacksonville, and we're coming off the practice field, sweaty, gross. And Tom Coughlin says, "Hey guys, there's a room in the back where they're getting rid of all the stuff from the pro shops, and you guys can go in there after you shower and grab something." So we walk into the locker room, and I noticed that no one's going to shower. Like all these vets are going straight to that room. So I go to the room, and I see like it was like a conference room, and there were tables everywhere. And the tables had like piles of t-shirts and golf bags and caps and toques and winter coats. Like they had everything in there that was at all the pro shops all around Jacksonville, and it was all in this one room. So you see guys walking around taking stuff. And, you know, I'm the Canadian guy. I just got drafted. You know, I'm very happy to be there. Like, hey, I was like pretty much 5 picks from Mr. Irrelevant myself. And so I walk around, you know, I grab a t-shirt and I grab a lanyard and I grabbed a couple of things, a hat. I love hats. And I go to the parking lot with 3 other rookies. We used to hang out together. And here we have Fred Taylor, Hall of Fame running back. He's got one of the tiniest little convertible Mercedes-Benz 2-door car with the hugest box of like stuff that he grabbed from the room. And right away, and he's stuffing it in the back trunk of his car. He's like, "Yeah, this has got to go in." And I'm like, guys, Fred Taylor makes millions of dollars, and he's got everything trying to fit in that car. I said, "Let's go back." So we go back in the room, and I'm like, "How am I going to get more stuff?" And I found this huge Jacksonville Jaguars hockey bag. Like it was a hockey bag. Like I still have it. And I grabbed this hockey bag. It was the only one in there. And then I walked like table to table, Sheldon, and I just stuck my big arm out and I just swiped stuff into the bag. Like I was walking, like it was just, and
bobblehead dolls, towels,
Sheldon,
mini
I
helmet.
didn't even care what there was stuff in there that was like 5XL. I was like, someone's going to wear it. Man, I came back. I think my duffel bag weighed 200 pounds to bring it back into Canada. And
what'd you do with it? This was during mini camp. Did you even have a house, or were you in a hotel room? Like, where did you put this?
We lived in dorms in a hotel room. Like
did you even have a car down there? Like, how did you even get it back to the dorm?
My buddy had an F-350. It was the first time I was ever in an F-350 because no one in Montreal drives those. So I threw this duffel bag in the back. When we flew home after OTAs and off-season workouts, I went to McGill. I called, and that was my first year out of university. I called all my buddies. They all came to the locker room. I dropped the bag in the middle of the locker room. I unzipped it, and it was like Christmas, man. Like guys were grabbing T-shirts and polo shirts, football gloves, like you name it. And it was all like Nike stuff. So that's where the Johnny free shit moniker lived or originated, and then I just took it to another level. Like
now it's a way of life. So here's the thing, though. Here's the thing about you. So you're that way the entire time with the stamps. In fact, I've been to your house, and you have all these CFL Reebok T-shirts.
Oh yeah,
and by a ton of them, folks. I'm not talking. He doesn't have 10. He doesn't have 20. You don't have 50. There's got to be 100+ shirts in your storage area downstairs. And then just last week when we went and did the the event with our sponsor at Dream Reach Achieve, Bruno. We went to his event, and he was selling T-shirts and stuff to raise money from his band, the ECBGs. I don't want to say it wrong. What was the name of Bruno's band again?
ZBs.
The ZBs. Oh, awesome! Awesome bands, awesome T-shirts. Bruno's an amazing speaker, and next thing I know, Chevy's walking out from this nice corporate event with like 25 T-shirts in his arms.
It wasn't 25.
It was at least 10. So then Bruno says, hey, Chevy, make sure you give Nasty some. So Nasty hands me like 2. I'm like, dude, I got kids. So he like gives me 4, and I'm like, okay, that's enough.
You know, I if I could make a list, one day I'm gonna have to make a list for the show of all the stuff that I appreciated, and appreciated is actually a verb. The one I was most proud of, though, but I think it was like a community free shit. Because what I would do is, if you recall, the Stampeders were sponsored by Big Chief Beef Jerky. You remember Big Chief? Paul? Yeah, Paul Benzik. He used to come to the locker room, and he was a very colorful character. And he'd come in and he'd deliver boxes of beef jerky, put them in the middle table the day before a game. And that was the walkthrough day, and everyone would run out to Nick's, right? And guys would grab a little bit of beef jerky, but most guys hated it. And Paul would always leave a bag of the ends that they cut off. So he'd always put one in my locker, and he put one in a couple of guys' lockers because he knew I loved it. And I would just sit in the locker room, and I'd wait. I'd wait till, guys got their fair share of beef jerky. And I knew that the guys that wanted the jerky took a bunch of jerky, and the rest didn't want, and it was going to go to waste. So I would just wait. And then I left, and I grabbed a couple of boxes of beef jerky, and I brought it home. Some of it went to the kids, but I also used it. As incentive when I was coaching the Adam Cowboys. In those days, I was an Adam Cowboy coach. I would give beef jerky to the players of the game. So I always paid my free shit forward. Like the Jacksonville stuff, I kept very little of it.
You weren't selling it on eBay and faking signatures.
You know what? I like to think I was like Robin Hood. Like I took from where there was plenty, and I gave to who had none, but once in a while I kept things. Once in a while I kept a thing or two. But yeah, Johnny Free Shit was my moniker. I'm trying to think if there was another good one. There was a recent one that was a really good one, but I can't remember exactly what it was. But I'm a thrifty guy. I like a good deal. And I think that, if you could get something and pay it forward, then why not? Why not? Anyone else out there got Rob Evans says I'm a little bit more Little John. Yeah, today with the McRib, I was Friar Tuck. So Sheldon, a little bit more overtime. We got some people hanging out with us. Thank you to everyone hanging out. Jamin, I know you're Sheldon's buddy. I'm reading your comments. I love your comments. Scott Robertson, general manager and part owner of Yuck Yucks Calgary, joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us, Scott. I hope you're having fun with us. AC Cup says, what's your oldest, most valuable free shirt? I will bust that out. AC, I'm going to bust that out on the next episode. Sheldon, you got to remind me. I'm going to bust out my game day shirt, the shirt that I wore all throughout college, all throughout my CFL and NFL career.
That's just funky, Chevy. You got to throw that thing out.
I still have it. It's in my drawer.
Oh my God.
I got stories. I'll tell you more stories. If I think of a Johnny Free Shit story, I got a mattress upstairs that I got for free. I got a bunch of stuff. Like, for me, one of my favorite things I ever got was this awesome Reebok Saskatchewan Roughriders backpack. And I got it back in, I don't know, 2000, 2001. It might not have been Reebok. It might have been Puma or something back then. But you know what? It was a well-made backpack. It's silver and black, some gray accents, and it's got a beautiful Riders logo on it. And I kept that thing with me no matter where I played on it. And even today, I show up to coaching events. I don't take my nice bags like to throw on the grass fields or whatever. So I still use this thing functionally. But every time I look at it, I remember how good it felt to have my first professional piece of free stuff. And it was good quality. And I've just kept it with me. But a t-shirt that you've used to wear under your pads every single day at practice, dude, those are disgusting. Yeah, but this was my lucky shirt, Sheldon. It's my lucky shirt. It was like I'll pull it out. I'm not going to run upstairs now, but it's in my drawer. It was at McGill, my first year at McGill, there was a box of old t-shirts. And it was just throwaways. And I pulled it out, and it was an old Airborne Regiment t-shirt with a skull and a beret and a cross of two guns, and it said "Mess with the best, die like the rest." And that became my lucky t-shirt, my game day t-shirt. And I wore that throughout my career. So I still have that t-shirt in case I sign with the Stamps or any CFL team that needs a long snapper. Until I'm 50, I still got to keep that t-shirt because I got to keep my skills sharp.
Now, here's a good one though for you. And this is one, there's a reason I'm going to say no to this. Nana Mona writes in, do you have any White House coats and towels from a trip? You know, those hotel robes? Yes, I have the towels. I absolutely have the towels, but I could never take those robes because it might be hard to see it here, but Chevy's 6'3", I'm almost 6'5". Those robes look ridiculous on me. I can't fit into a human-sized robe, so no. And Jamin D back on it. He's on the road right now. He says, I'm at a hotel. Do you want any free shampoos and soaps? Yes, grab as many as you can for Chevy.
Hey, we're building community here.
Part on the way out of checkout in the morning, just go ahead and just swipe them off into a duffel bag, and Chevy would be happy to use, re-gift, Christmas presents for the kids. Everybody can use an extra conditioner, right?
Anyone could use free stuff. If it's out there and it's free, it's good. I don't like junk. Like I don't like junk, but if it's something good, I'll keep it. Like, you know, AC mentioned that he still has his free shirt from the Arizona Cardinals rookie camp. You know, even me, like everyone asked me, did you keep your Dallas Cowboys jersey when you got cut for them? Because I've got a jersey from the Bengals. I've got jerseys from the Rough Riders, the Stamps. The Stamp stuff I had to buy, though. I didn't like that. Like all those helmets you see behind me there, the Stampeders ones, we had to buy those ones.
Gio gave that to me for free, by the way.
Well,
but
that's because he liked you better.
Favorite. You were Tom's favorite, no doubt. Yeah. I was Gio's favorite, I think.
But some of the stuff I had to buy. Some of the stuff I had to buy, but most of the stuff I got for free. But I got a box of bin downstairs with NFL Europe sweaters. I bust out last year. We did when we, you know, in our season 0, when we talked to Michael Ball, I busted out that original XFL hat. So I've got some fun stuff. But
so since we're in overtime and we have absolutely zero structure to this, you just brought up Michael Ball. I saw on Twitter today an article out of 3 Down Nation. Michael Ball, the legendary, well, for the last 2 years, the controversial voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, and a guest on one of our season 0 early shows that we had, you and him had it out about some CFL versus UFL stuff. He was let go by the Saskatchewan Roughriders today. Did you hear about this?
Yeah, I heard about that. Now for the history of those people just joining us, yeah, we had it out on Twitter because I, you know, in a long story short, and this is before NGBN times, long story short, you know, last year in the spring, I thought, you know, and I made the opinion that I think the XFL, USFL would be legitimate options for players coming out of Canada to develop and potentially get a shot at the NFL. And yeah, Rubio, we're sorry we're not going to be at Radio Row at the Super Bowl. Yeah. The NGBN network will be there. Unfortunately, Sheldon and I can't make it.
Rubio's going to be there.
Yeah, Rubio's going to be there, and we're gonna join you if you call us up, as long as I'm not working, because I do have a day job with the fire department that I can't leave. But in the evenings, I'll come on to all your shows. I don't care. We'll have fun. But what I was going to say is that
hold on, I'm going to cut you off one time just because I think it's funny. Nanamona just writes zero structure, smiling face. You know what? Hold my beer. Nanamona, give us a subject, and Chevy and I will go off on it for 5 minutes. But then I got to call it a night.
You're not calling it.
Finish your story, Chevy.
We still got to get to the Swifties, but yeah. So Michael Ball was voice of the Riders, huge CFL fan. He kind of got into it with me because he didn't like my take. I said that, you know, the NFL is the top dog, and then any other league is a minor league, and he didn't like that I called the CFL a minor league. And you know, truthfully, you know, when I look at it, you know, that's kind of what it is in the North American landscape of especially pro football. So he didn't like that. We got into it on Twitter. I was kind of just taking the high road. He was kind of really getting heated. But what was happening were the fans were getting on him. He's very controversial. He has controversial takes. Fans aren't always on his side. They were getting on him, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that it became that Twitter war where people were picking a side. So I got on direct message, and I asked him to come on our show. And he came on our show, and we had it out. Sheldon wore a referee jersey. He wore his Rough Rider stuff. I wore my XFL hat because that was kind of the topic that started it all. And we had a fantastic show. And if you go to our YouTube page,
I just found it. It was season 0, episode 5. And you can see it. Just look at the thumbnail or whatever. You see me in a referee's jersey in between Ballsy and Chevy. But
and how far have we come since then? Because audio quality, everything's better. But that was a really great episode because it really did something beyond sport. It bridged two people with different opinions, and we actually had it out on the air. And it was a great episode because I felt like we both grew from it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't typical of what's happening in the world these days where everyone says, you're wrong, I'm right, you're stupid, get out of here, or you're this, you're that. It's kind of like we had a Decades episode, except we didn't know we were doing it. And Decades is, by the way, a fantastic show on our network. Rubio's here. He was on it before. I don't know. Rubio, I'm going to ask you this since you're here. Did you, AC and Alex decide to all wear yellow sweaters and look like the Minions? Because I was looking at the screen and I just couldn't get that image out of my head. All three of you guys side by side in the box. And I think we put up the little graphic there, but we have fun watching you guys. We hope you have fun watching us. Sheldon, we're not done. We're not done. Like Nanamana, did she give us a topic? No, she said you're good. She said wide open.
Wide open. Then I'm going to go back to something Jamie just brought up here too. What is it with people hitting on Swift and Kelsey? You know what though? I think we're going to save that one for next week, Chev.
No, we were going to talk about it tonight.
What is it with people hating on Taylor Swift and Kelsey? First off, that was going to be the nasty thoughts if we ever made it to segment 3, but we skipped straight to overtime. What is it with people hating on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelsey? In my mind, like this has been nothing but a fun sideline that's brought new eyes to the NFL. And the NFL was the biggest sports league in my world. NFL is the biggest sports league in the world. I know you can make some arguments with European footy, but the NFL is as big as it gets. And it was shocking to me that someone like Taylor Swift can come in and just capture so much of the attention and so much of the airspace. I didn't look at it as a negative thing because you really quickly realize that Taylor Swift, she's bigger than Madonna ever was. She's as big as Michael Jackson. This is a big deal. And you know what? 90% of her followers are of the female persuasion. So you got 2 billion people following NFL football. Now you've got 3 billion Swifties following NFL football. It was a match made in heaven. It's done good for both of their brands. I'm now singing. I've got Taylor Swift songs going on in my head, whereas 6 months ago I did not.
But look at him, Sheldon. A little bit. Sheldon, they look so cute. I mean, look at them. I got to tell you this. This is my take.
Wait,
okay.
Now we got Bad Blood. Is that a song name?
Yeah, that's one of her songs. But the Bad Blood is this. There's a lot of people. I hear the noise. I hear people complaining. The question or what people are saying is NFL. Taylor Swift is ruining the NFL. I don't think so. I think she brings new life to the NFL. I'm going to tell you a couple of personal anecdotes. I have 3 boys. I wouldn't know much about Taylor Swift had I not met my girlfriend, Brittany, who has a young 10-year-old daughter. My girlfriend knew nothing about football before she met me, and she still doesn't know that much. She's learning. And her daughter never watched football. But because of this Taylor Swift infusion of football into her life, they ask me questions. We sit on the couch. We talk about football. We talk about plays. But we also talk about their relationship. We talk about, hey, they looked like a real couple after that game. Like, I thought it was nice. Taylor Swift, there's an article saying that she unsolicited, like just for showing up to the games to watch her boyfriend, has created a $350 million revenue stream for the NFL. I don't care if you're an NFL purist, but if you're employed by that company or any one of those teams, you are happy. You are happy that she's there. And I'm going to tell you this, for all the guys out there that are complaining, saying she's ruining the game. First of all, there was a great quote. I like this quote. My girlfriend sent it to me, and I'm going to pull it up here because I don't have it online. But basically, it's saying, you know what? If you're watching football on Sunday and every time they flash Taylor Swift for like 10 seconds and you're complaining, saying how she's ruining the game, remember this. Your daughters are watching, and the hate you show for Taylor Swift supporting her boyfriend, hearing you complain for the 60 seconds they show her on a 3-hour telecast says more about you than what she's doing to the game in your daughter's eyes.
So how controversial can I get with this?
Wait,
Or do you want to finish that?
Wait, I just want to finish my thought. This is the other thing for all you guys that are complaining about Taylor Swift. You guys are being dummies. Because if your girl knows nothing about football and you tell her, hey, they might show Taylor Swift in this Cowboys-Eagles game, which is totally not true, you might get a free pass to watch that Cowboys-Eagles game. If you tell them, say, hey, you know what? They might show Taylor Swift in the warm-up for the Sunday night game during the 4:00 game. You're getting opportunities to sit on the couch and watch football. What are you complaining about? Enjoy
So, Chevy, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
Can I have the stage here for 1 second?
Yeah, well,
we're missing a few things. Now, we're going to put this in perspective.
Okay,
you have a wonderful young girlfriend. You're been together for, we're not
4
talking
years.
decades. We're talking how long? 3 years?
Or
A few years, 4 years. Okay. So there's some of us in this world that when it comes to NFL Sunday, we're not looking forward to sitting there holding hands with our girlfriend and watching football on a Sunday. You know what my Sunday football is I go down to my basement, to my big screen. I cook the food that I want, and I actually take that as some time to myself. So in some worlds, you know what? Bringing in the fairer sex might not absolutely be helping football and the reason why guys watch football. I think that's why guys get out of the house to watch them. If you've got a new, great, fantastic girlfriend that loves football, or a beautiful wife like my Amanda, who loves both football and Taylor Swift, thanks, Amanda. It'd be great. But some guys like to get away from the sport. Second of all, as much as I'm not bothered by this, there's a voice in my head that says, what if Taylor Swift does as much good for the NFL as Meghan Markle did for the monarchy? Right? It
look at
brought
Sheldon
a lot
getting
of
into the
precedence
pop
to the
culture
monarchy.
references.
But when things went wrong, when that new love went bad and everybody started turning on each other, Prince Harry's moving to Canada, in California, are suing each other over who's paying for a security detail. He's not even invited to the coronation, or if he is, he's sitting behind that lady with the big hat. Dude, what happens if there's a breakup from this thing?
Well,
not only is Kelsey going to pay for it, the NFL is going to pay for it. Because you know what? All those little Swifties that are loving us, bringing in $350 million in revenue, are going to turn on you. They're going to turn on their moms that are watching. They're going to turn on their dads that are watching. And this NFL, as we know it, is going to be gone. Mark my words. Taylor Swift is the Meghan Markle to the monarchy. Mark my words.
But that's the great thing. We get to watch it happen in front of us. It's exciting. We're talking about it. You know what? I love your argument, and I'm going to go back. Like, you have a very understanding wife, Amanda. She, you go down to the basement.
See, that's just me. Come on, Jenna. Oh man.
Yeah, that's mean. See, I
didn't mean to be mean. I even said I'm not trying to be mean, but
AC says it's going to be ugly when they split. I don't think they're splitting, AC. I think this is what's going to happen. I've got it all planned out, because after I watched the game, then I broke down the game, and then I broke down the relationship. But I'm going to get to that in a second. Sheldon, you have a very great situation. On a Sunday, you could go down, cook your food, watch your football in front of your big screen TV. Men out there will applaud you. Me, I have an understanding girlfriend that I watch football with sometimes. Sometimes she does her own thing. I watch, but many guys don't have that level of understanding. On a Sunday, it's a work day. It's a Costco day. It's a Frank the Tank day. Sheldon, for most guys, it's Costco, Bed Bath Beyond, and maybe a little bit of Home Depot sprinkled in, when all they want to do is watch football. And then they have kids, and then they got to go to all their kids' stuff.
Yeah, but you remember how that movie ends? It ends up they go streaking, and it just is a mess from there.
But Taylor Swift allows some of those men, some of our brothers on the NGBN network, to just have a little bit of that, what you have, that ability to sit down and listen to Tony Romo break down a play and watch Patrick Mahomes and not have to watch it in the highlight package after. That's what she does. Her presence does, because the girlfriends and the wives of these men that have been long suffering from football withdrawal get a chance to watch at least one game. And yes, for the most part, it happens to be a Chiefs game. And thankfully, men everywhere will be allowed to watch the Super Bowl in 2 weeks, because if Taylor Swift makes it there, there's not a man in the world that's going to have to go to Costco, Home Depot, or any of those stores. They're all going to be able to sit down just like you get to sit down, all because of Taylor Swift.
You know what, though? I love my wife, but men have been watching the Super Bowl in one form or another for the last 15,000 years. Whether it was going out and watching the saber-toothed tiger take down a mammoth back in the day. I think that's going to survive. It's interesting, though, isn't it? Because it's completely changed who's consuming the NFL right now. I my two favorite comments from this is AC Anthony Cobbs. You best believe it's over by training camp. They're at the peak of the highs right now. She's getting some from her brand. She's bringing it to the NFL's brand. They're madly in love because they made it to the Super Bowl. You know, training camp.
I got it all
Training
mapped
camp,
out.
you don't see each other for 2 months.
Sheldon,
right?
I
then I'm just going to take it to what Jamin said. He says, "Do you think KFC is still open?" Love that, Jamin. I hope it is. I don't know where you're staying tonight, but I think it's worth at least a call. Maybe you can get some delivery. I don't know. I hope for your sake KFC is still open.
Sheldon, I'm going to tell you, I think you're wrong. This is what's happening.
About KFC?
No.
Are we arguing about Taylor Swift?
Yes, the Chiefs are winning the Super Bowl. Okay. Travis Kelce's retiring. He's going to go on the last leg of her Eras tour. I know this because I have people that watch this. Her Eras tour ends next year in December. He's going to travel with her for that last leg, enjoy traveling around the world, watching her concerts, doing all the stuff she did for him this year. He's going to do that. When her tour ends, this is what happens. I mark my words. She's having babies. She's having Kelce Swift babies. And then he is going to go focus on figuring out what he's going to do after football's done. Maybe he's going to become a realtor, maybe a mortgage broker. Maybe he's going to be a movie star. Maybe he's going to take his podcast to the NGBN.TV network and just bring it to another level. I don't know what he's going to do, but my crystal ball tells me that they are in it for the long haul, and it's good for football. It's good for fans. You know, the great.
It's good for the show. It's good for us.
For us.
It's Chapwar's lighting up. But Chevy, I'll tell you what. I'm just seeing. I'm seeing. There's a smiley face at the end of this comment. But our beloved, hardworking, endless toiling producer Jenna hasn't even had supper yet tonight. We're not the only show that she produces on this network, and I think she's had a bit of a long day. So, guys, I tell you what. And yes, Jenna, they will make gorgeous babies for sure,
unless they look like Jason Kelce. Then they'll look.
Chevy, let's wrap this up. What you got?
Well, this is what I got. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. It's been fun. Nanamana, Jenna, thank you for producing. And now we get to see your comments actually on the feed, which is awesome. AC, Jamin, like everyone listening tonight, Rob Evans, Rubio, Scott Robertson. We got some new listeners tonight. We hope you enjoyed the ride because we sure had fun. This is the overtime segment. We usually go about a half hour, but our show typically runs every Tuesday from 11 p.m. till midnight on the NGBN.TV network, Mountain Standard Time.
But we're not running on the network anymore. Now you find us on Roku. And I really want to hit that home. Guys, if you go into your Roku TV tonight or tomorrow morning, I figured this out, how to download it onto all my devices. You just go to the Roku, and then you jump in there and you hit search channels and you type in NGBN. Because you don't have to find us on the internet, like on the website anymore. We are now on Roku, or you can keep coming to YouTube or Facebook or wherever you can consume us. But I would encourage you guys to go and check, and Amazon Fire, and soon enough to be Apple.
Yeah. So we're going to be on all those connected devices, but you could still find us on all our socials at Chevy and Nasty, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. We're there. At the NGBN.TV network. Android, Jenna says Android. We keep forgetting to say Android. We have AC calls us some jive turkeys. I like that. I think that's a compliment. But you know what? Thank you everyone for being here tonight. Thank you, Dream, Reach, Achieve, and We Drone. And big thank you to Jeff Garcia. He took time out of his day to hang with us, give us a little bit of knowledge.
Finger.
Yeah, give us the finger. Thank you to all of you. Keep the comments coming. Keep the interaction coming with us. We'll be here next week. We're going to do probably a Super Bowl preview, probably talk a lot more about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, because I'm sure we're going to have a lot more developments in the relationship between now and then. And anything we want to talk about, it always happens right here on the ride.